Hello, everyone. Welcome to Screaming at the Wind. It's my YouTube channel, our YouTube channel, your YouTube channel. We have a lot of them. This particular channel we teach or unteach non-duality. Non-dual means not two, which is basically, if we take the time to study what all religions point to, the underlying truth of reality. Um, I've had a lot going on, so I haven't been able to make videos lately. Uh, and so hopefully we'll get back in at least one a week. I want to do a couple live streams a week at some point and put that on the regular schedule. And at that point, people will be able to call in or Skype in or whatever I can work out before then. Uh, we can really do some rocking and rolling. So since I spoke with you last, this character Jason has moved from Los Angeles, California back to his home of Alabama. And life is still good. Life is always good. So let's get to some non-duality. Let's sit for about 30 seconds, maybe a minute, just in silence. Let's be aware of everything around us. Let's see everything in our peripheral vision, hear all the sounds, and feel all of eternity, infinite eternity, with our whole body. All right, that should do us. Get us centered here in the moment, here where reality actually is. I never plan what's going to be said. What's said comes through. That's what needs to be said for this particular day, this particular moment, second, whatever you want to say. This character was raised in the South in Christianity. And I love the Bible. It's a good book. But I also like the Tao Te Ching. I like the Buddhist manual on how to get home. Where is home? What is home? What is heaven? What is nirvana? What is bliss? What is God? Spirit? Energy? We have a lot of words for the same thing. In essence, reality, all of reality is a singular thing. Science would say it's all energy vibrating at different frequencies. What seems to be space is energy vibrating at a higher frequency or resonance, and what seems to be solid matter is that same energy vibrating at a much lower frequency or resonance. Now, this is understandable by the intellect. Religion calls it spirit. Most religions, the Native Americans said, the Great Spirit is in and through everything and is everything. In Christianity, though not mentioned in many Christian churches this day, is the Holy Spirit. And it's important to know these things because it is what we are. And I don't want to throw anybody off with religious words, so we'll steer away from that. But as many of us, one, have noticed, there's a lot going on in the world today. There's weird things like thousands of birds dropping out of the air, thousands of fish and ocean animals just dying and showing up on the shores. There's great earthquakes. There's impending financial calamities. There's odd astronomical happenings that have not happened in thousands and thousands of years. And as a student, former seeker, I studied a lot of things. I studied prophecies. I studied Christian prophecies. I studied Edgar Cayce, Nostradamus, and lots of other uh, newer and older prophets and their prophecies, Native American prophecies. And it would seem, from this perspective here, that a lot of those are coming true. Is this bad or good? Well, it depends on how you see things. And my goal since the beginning was to know the truth. Know the truth of where we are, who we are, what's going on. And so that was why I studied prophecies. And now I'm seeing a lot of those things come true. Am I saying it's the end of days? Heck, I don't know. In reality, I don't know anything. Not as Jason. There's really only one thing going on here, and there's only one thing to be known. And some of the older gurus or sages call it the truth. My first teacher, Jesus, said, "Seek ye the truth, and the truth shall set you free." Only the truth. Not my truth, or your truth, or his truth, or anybody else's truth, but the truth. And there is truth. A singular, beautiful, perfect, and whole truth. So, how do we find it? How do we find the truth of reality? Well, we have to find the truth of our own self, our own nature. And what does that look like? Well, let's use more psychological and scientific words or concepts. When we are born, seemingly, into these forms, which is really more like a wave popping up in the ocean, and the ocean looks through the wave, and eventually it mistakes itself as the wave. So what we must do is look back and realize we are the ocean and not the waves. What we are is eternal, it is immortal, it is forever, and it is not, cannot be born, and it does not die. How do we know? This isn't a belief. I don't dabble in beliefs. Beliefs are not true. No belief is true. Hence, we call it a belief. And most of our wars and our shenanigans are more not so nice shenanigans are caused by a warring of beliefs. Dogma. Dogma. So what happens when we are born, seemingly, is a baby has only one fear that we know of, and that's the fear of falling. And it doesn't know it has it. It's just afraid when it starts to fall, which is a natural instinct, a natural survival instinct. And so let's look at it like this. Energy or spirit came into form, matter. So in the beginning, there was a wholeness and it split itself. And one vibrated higher and one vibrated lower. And so when spirit came into form, the overwhelming instinctual nature of the animal form caused spirit to become unconscious, caused energy, intelligence, awareness, consciousness, mind to fall asleep. Was it on purpose? Well, it seems so, might be. To me, it's like a game once we see it. You know, we are all that exists forever. and there is only one. And that is lonely, and that is boring. And in the illusion of separation, there are many subjective experiences which create opposing ideas and beliefs. And in that we have conflict, which creates story, which creates entertainment. If you go watch a movie with no conflict, you will walk out in a few minutes because conflict is what carries the story forward. So spirit came into form, energy came into form. And over time, when you're born, you are everything. You are at one with everything. There's no sense of a separate self, a me, a you, another. Um, and so over time, through the senses, information is taught to us. I will call this false knowledge. We start the naming of things: birds, animals, plants, trees, earth, stars, sun, moon. Every word that we give to every seeming object within our perceptual field. Now, as we learn this, there's this fleshy mechanism, usually located in the pit of the stomach, that I would say the Bible calls the serpent in the garden. Science calls it fight or flight, the necessity of the body to stay alive. From my perspective, it is there to keep the body alive until awareness or consciousness realizes itself. And then it is no longer necessary. It's still there, but it's not as overwhelming. And so I'd like to give a little bit different version of the Garden of Eden. So when you're born, there's Adam, the mind, there's Eve, the heart, and just right below that, the pit of the stomach, there's the serpent in the garden. And Adam and Eve are in the garden, and all is good with the world. And they are told, do not eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil that is in the center of the garden. That's this. Or this, really. The survival instincts right in the center of the garden. Right. And so what happens is as consciousness, awareness learns information so that it may communicate with other parts of itself within this realm that we live in, seemingly. The heart, Eve, mistakes that instinct. She listens to it. The serpent goes, oh, you must eat of the tree. God doesn't want you to know what he knows. You'll be like a god. And so the serpent convinces Eve. Eve runs to Adam. And then the story starts. This chattery monkey mind and these horrifying nightmarish images of threats that don't actually exist to the form, but they do seemingly exist to a self separate from all of reality. And then from there, all the evils of the world are multiplied. So what must we do to return to the garden? Well, in the Bible it says that there are two cherubim with flaming swords. Cherubim are known as angels of love, you know, and they have flaming swords now. And I'll say that is the mind and the heart under the illusions that the instinct mechanism, fight or flight, fear, creates. And so we must fight our own thoughts and feelings in a way, or we must see through their illusionary nature. And every time we try to do this, they fight back. They jump, you know. If you've ever been in a situation with another form, another part of yourself, another person seemingly, when they seem to get negative, all of a sudden you feel negative and you react back. And that to me is a form of asleepness. And we all still do it, you know. But we have to become more and more aware of that. It's like the body is on autopilot, and the fear mechanism, the fight or flight mechanism, creates a persona that psychology likes to call the ego. And then that operates the form. It is a reactionary mechanism within the seeming form that causes the form to automate. It's an automaton. It's like a zombie, ooh, Walking Dead kind of thing, right? But we can reverse that. And in my experience, and not just my experience, if you study all the religions or many of the religions of the world, all of them mention sitting quietly. Some call it meditation. The Bible says, "Be still and know that I am God." Buddha taught meditation. In the Hindu or in the India religions, they talk about the Atman and the Brahman. Atman is the individualized soul or the egoic nature. Brahman is the whole, the oneness, the underlying truth or reality. And our job is to first become aware of Atman and then dissolve it into Brahman or Brahma. Atma, Brahma. And so we do this by sitting quietly. And, meditation is nothing fancy. I'll give you the short and skinny. Sit down, shut up, and don't move for a certain period of time. Most modern day meditative movements suggest 20 minutes. Transcendental meditation, 20 minutes twice a day. Vipassana, now this is hardcore, 10 days of silent meditation. All right. But sit down, shut up, and don't move. Get to know the car you're riding around in, the auto car. It's on autopilot. It's like these new cars that drive themselves. Well, basically, that's what's happening until the veil is torn, until the illusion is seen through and destroyed. And then, seemingly, there seems to be more of a choice. But until then, you're not acting, you're not choosing, we're not thinking, we're not doing any of that. The survival mechanism, the fight or flight, has created a persona to keep the body alive and defend not only its physical body, which is what it used to do, but now it defends beliefs, likes, opinions, all of these things that this false illusionary persona thinks of as itself. And it is destroying not only civilization reality, it's destroying the planet and everything on it. And it's tricky because my eyes tell me that there are many types of people and that it's not the eyes. The ego tells me through the eyes that there's many types of people, looking at differences instead of similarities, lost in illusions. So what must we do to break through the illusions, to render the veil, to come in touch with God, not to believe? Beliefs in God are just beliefs, but to know what that word God points to, or the word Tao, or the word Dharma. In Buddhism, there's karma. Karma is the mind-body uh, running around of, trying to get away from things that seem to be threatening to me and trying to run towards things that seem to be good or positive for me. And in ego land, delusion land, most of the time the things that seem to be positive for me are the exact opposite. And the things that seem to be threatening to me are the exact opposite. In Taoism, it talks about the segregated mind and the integrated mind. So we must reintegrate the mind that has become fragmented through conceptualizing reality. Instead of seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling what is actually here and present in the moment, we see, hear, taste, touch, smell what we think, feel. We see, hear, taste, touch, smell, or we believe we see, hear, taste, touch, smell. Those are two different things. And I'll tell you what, the ego defends its individuality to the death. to the death. Every snowflake is unique. You don't have to defend that. However, when we melt all those snowflakes down, they become water. Water. We are all water. And we have the uniqueness of a snowflake at the same time. But we don't have to defend it. But that's what most of our life is about until we see the truth. So, how do we reintegrate the segregated mind? What is the segregated mind? Have you ever laid down to go to sleep and have something very important to go to the next day, and you want to go to sleep so bad, but the mind will not stop talking? Well, I learned in my experience that that mind talking is not me, because if it was me, it would shut up if I wanted to go to sleep. So what is it? Well, in the Bible it calls it the devil. However, there, as far as I can tell, there ain't no devil. There ain't no dude with pitchfork horns running around causing people to do bad things. It is a misunderstanding of the car they're driving. The car is driving us instead of us driving the car, because we are taught about the world that the senses perceive. However, we are not taught about the car we're riding around in. We could say inner world, but that's not necessarily true. We are not a separate thing inside a form looking out into the universe separate from it. We are the universe itself looking in at itself. Is this a belief? No, it's an experience you can have. You don't have to believe a word I say, and please do not believe anything I say. Go test it. Go see if the words that are being uttered through this mouth are true. So how do we reintegrate? Sit down, shut up, and don't move for a period of time each day. Now, when I first experienced the truth, I got this odd idea in my head as Jason, to sit down, be quiet, don't move, and try to feel connected to everything. Or you could say, try to feel the Spirit, or try to feel the presence of God, or try to feel the energy around you. That is family of mine in this form. I have moved, and now I'm around my birth family in the world, and I'm having a ball with these guys. We're doing the Christmas holidays, lots of gifts, lots of trees, lots of loudness, lots of rah, rah, rah. It's fun, but it's not important. What's important is that we know what we are. That is the purpose. Seemingly, that is the point. And we miss it. Many of us, I'll quote somebody. I can't remember who said it. I think it was Roosevelt. But they said, many lead lives of silent desperation, and they go to their graves in that state. Are you leading a life of silent desperation? Do you want to die in that state? Do you want to go to your grave in that state? I don't want you to. I want every one of us to know what we are. And we, throughout history, have been teaching it over and over again in every way possible. In fact, everything around you right now at this very moment is screaming the glory of you, the amazingness of you, the awesomeness of you. But, like Jesus said, we must have eyes to see and ears to hear. And most of us have eyes that do not see and ears that do not hear. That's a weird one. That's a weird one. Took me a long time to understand that. But all questions can be answered in a moment if we do the work. You can read books. You can go get gurus. You can pray fervently every day. You can seek and seek and seek and seek and seek. But when are you going to find what you're seeking? I mean, if you're a seeker, what are you seeking? Where are you going and where are you running from? How many seekers find? What is it that we're looking for if we're seeking? Here's some good questions. Who am I? Where is this? What is really going on here? We can't help it though. When we were little kids, we were told this is that and that's that and this is how it works and blah, 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 blah. And guess what? Our innocence was ruined because we just believed we didn't know any better. You want to believe your parents. You want to believe the schools and the teachers. You want to believe the news and the politicians and the priests and ministers and preachers. I tell you this, don't believe anybody. Don't believe me. Question everything. Do not stop until you have found that which is the truth. Not your truth, not my truth, but the truth. As the Bible says, knock and the door will be open. Ask and you will receive. Seek and ye shall find. There's one law, apparently, for man. You know, a lot of these books are good. I like to quote the Bible a lot. I like to quote the Tao a lot. I like to quote Buddha a lot. You know, please do not be offended. These are just directions. You know, Buddha, Lao Tzu, Jesus, they're guys standing on the side of the road selling maps to Florida. And what happens is we mistake the guy selling the map or the map for Florida. Very few people find Florida because they don't follow the directions. They're too busy mistaking the map or the guy selling the map for Florida. Florida's real. And books like the Bible, the Tao Te Ching, the teachings of Buddha. And there's a lot more. I'm just listing a few. There's songs on the radio that tell us the truth every day if you turn on. Movies on television. Everything screams the truth when I can see and hear it. And they are just directions home. Where is home? Right here, right now, in the eternal present, in this very, very moment. I have never lived a yesterday. I have never lived a tomorrow. Yet we talk these words. We speak these words a lot. We think these things a lot. Oh, tomorrow. Oh, yesterday. Ooh, next year. Ooh, I don't know where I'll be 20 minutes from now. I used to know. I used to think I knew. We could say that if we can find a perfect state of unknowing within ourselves, then we will know all there is to know. So, here's what we do. We sit, we shut up, we don't move. We try to feel connected. And in doing this, what happens is Adam supports Eve. And the feminine power is amazingly powerful when supported by the masculine. More powerful than the masculine, but needs the masculine support nevertheless. And then it has the power to crush the head of the serpent underfoot. And bam, here we are in the garden. We could say that this realm, our reality, is more like purgatory. There's only two ways to see it. There's only two ways to see it. As heaven or as hell. I'm not quite sure there's a heaven or hell after this life where good little boys and girls go to for doing good or bad. However, I have experienced both hell and heaven right here on this planet. Hell is when I chose the egoic self, the beliefs, the likes, the dislikes. And it was all about this form, these thoughts, these feelings. And heaven is when I chose everything else besides this. And we are all the I. We are all the I am. I know one thing for sure. I am. Are you? Do you know that for sure? Go find out. If anything I said has offended you, good. I'm not here to make you feel good. I'm here to make you feel the life that you are, to make you see the truth of your infinite nature, to make you question me and everyone else. Because we were deceived. We were told untruth. And we must find wisdom. Knowledge is anything you can read in a book and spout back out to people. And I've spouted a lot of stuff from other people. But wisdom, that is the intuitive mind intuiting exactly what needs to be said and done every second of every day. It's like Neo once he sees the Matrix, dodging bullets and all that cool stuff. You are the magic you seek. You are the home you are looking for. You are the love that you wish you could get from somebody else. You are everything you ever wanted. You are the truth itself. And everything around us says otherwise if we look at it the wrong way. If we look at it the right way, it tells us the truth. It's just a adjusting of the lens, just a slight tweaking of the lens so that we can see clearly. That's all. But, you know, it's really easy to see that other lenses may seem to be askew. However, it is very hard to see that it is our own lens that is fully out of focus. And we must sit quietly and we must learn to focus our lens. And then we will see that we have been living in paradise all along, believing that it was hell and thinking we were happy. There's an old saying I heard a long time ago. Uh, what other people call happy, the sage calls suffering. You are happiness itself. You are peace and contentment and joy and gratitude and compassion and love. And yet we believe that it is somewhere other than us. Start at home. Drive your own car. Clean your own house. Clean up your own side of the street. And then look around. That's what we must do. The changes aren't going to occur by yelling at some dude that got voted in as president or some girl over here that did that or this guy over here that did that. The changes are going to happen when we sit down quietly and we get still within and we look out with our eyes and we listen with our ears and we feel with our body and we silence the devil in our own heads. I haven't had a single thought sitting here. How many of you had? Hard to believe. You got to think to do. No, you don't. In fact, the best laid plans, you know, want to make God laugh? Tell him your plans. How many times have you ever planned something and it worked out exactly as you planned it? We have so much time in these forums, right, to realize what we are. So much time, and we don't know how much time that is. We are so distracted by many, many things, mostly just thinking. When we stop thinking, guess what happens? Being and doing. And in that, if everyone on this planet stopped thinking and we started being and doing, We could reshape the universe in a couple months. That is how powerful we really are. But separate? We can't really get much done. We can't get much done separate. That old saying, united we stand, together we fall. That's everybody. It's one planet as far as I can tell. It's not really a planet, that's what we call it. One home for every one of us. And we're sitting here fighting over childish differences. Had a buddy used to say, everything you need to know you learned in kindergarten. And I look back and I would agree. Be nice. Look both ways when you cross the street. Share. Be thoughtful. Be generous. Be kind. Take a nap every day. You're tired, take a nap. Eat lunch. Play. Study. These are the things I learned in kindergarten, and they work pretty well. All right, guys, gals, beautiful pieces of eternity, the infinite. Have a wonderful day. Peace out.